Hello, Maverick traders. Welcome out to your market roundup for March 27th. Still a lot happening in the markets that we need to get to, so let's jump right in here. First, as far as markets are concerned, we continue to shake off bad news and just push higher. The Dow and S&P higher today, NASDAQ slightly lower, Russell higher, oil up big, gold down. So a little bit of a mixed picture and a little bit of a change from what we had been seeing where tech had led to the upside. Actually, today, the two worst performing sectors were tech and communication services, which had been really strong the prior couple of weeks, and a bit of a rotation where financials, energy, some of the things that had been weaker have been stronger today. So a little bit of a rotation of capital, certainly a little bit out of tech and into some of these other groups. Advanced decline line, about 60% of stocks moving higher, and a change, a positive change in the 50 MA, 23% from 20% when we did this video last week are now above their 50. So more stocks transitioning into an upward trend. On the daily news, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, is being bought out by First Citizens Bank. This lends the question, is the banking crisis over? Because the VIX fell sharply and this takes some risks off the table. And it sounds really strange to say, is this crisis over? Well, it could be. Remember, if people haven't moved their money at this point from their bank, perhaps they're not going to. And if we don't have more dominoes fall, this will simply kind of filter off of the front page and move to the back page. There will still be news, there will still be this bank, that bank, and certainly the financial sector is caught up in that. But just as quick as it came, it can leave, and that's how news often works. The stock market is up since this banking crisis began, so I don't know that it's a huge crisis worldwide. I get it, Credit Suisse and some of these banks have some real stresses to them that cause them to somewhat go under and to take under. But just as soon as it's a big story, it can kind of filter away. So the S&P has worked its way higher since this began. Now we're in this spot where we're between the 20 and the 50 MA. Do we break higher? Do we break lower? Do we move into an upward or downward trend? What's also interesting, we don't have the 200-day moving average on this chart, but it's lumped right in here, and we're actually above it. So we're above the 20 and the 200. We're below the 50. It's a very mixed picture, and it really speaks to the indecision, the fact that we've really gone nowhere for quite a long time. We're in a sideways market. These moving averages are still moving sideways. It's not a super clear picture. As we look at the NASDAQ, it has outperformed, stalling a little bit up there at resistance, and a reversal day today, but actually upward trending. And you're going to start to see maybe the 20 separate from the 50, a little bit more bullish price action starting to materialize in the technology sector. Now, as we look at the heat map, clearly some weakness in tech, some strength in energy and financials. And so that's the rotation that really the exact opposite of that had been in place for the prior couple of weeks. On the market outlook, above the 20 but below the 50, and again sloping sideways, not a real well-defined uptrend or downtrend. It's a well-defined sideways trend at this point in time. So some possible bullish and bearish ideas. Now on the bullish list, here we have Goldfields International. This is a gold mining company. What's intriguing about this, it's outperforming even as gold has rolled over pretty hard. That's a good sign. It's broken out, but what I would like to see, I wouldn't be buying here necessarily, but if we get a little pullback, it could be considered on that next dip. Right now we've got a lot of strength. There's something in play in this company, and I'll be looking at that next pullback as a potential buy. Alphabet, also known as Google, has crossed over 20 above the 50. We had a weak day today giving back some of the recent strength, but I suspect it's going to pull back to around 100, right at about that area. And again, I'll be inclined to look at that at least as a potential buy. So those first two, I think we got a little bit more pullback and then we might consider. The last one, probably just more ready to go. UPS has already stalled at the resistance previously, back and filled, a little bit of kind of the cup and handle type of idea. or if you want to call it an ascending triangle, what have you. The next stop should be a move up and through 192 and onward towards 200 per share. On the bearish list, Amgen stands out to me. We've rebounded, and this is sort of that ABC style correction we look for, and a pushback down seems likely. Also, Crocs, we highlighted this one last week up against the moving averages, and so far so good. Rolling over, I still think the next push, the next leg, is to the downside. And then last but not least, Netflix. Again, that ABC style correction. This is how corrections should work. A and B and C come into some resistance, respond to it. Look at the bearish candlestick, that kind of shooting star reversal, and we should start to push to the downside. This correction to the upside should have played out, and at this point, a little bit more weakness than strength in the next move. Stocks are holding up well. Prices are positive since this banking crisis began, and the old bad news but good price action. Well, the price action has been winning out, and stocks are recovering overall. You're seeing more of them advancing than declining of late. Economic reports, we've got final GDP on Thursday. And on the earnings side, Lulu and Micron and Walgreens reports tomorrow morning. Not a lot there on earnings, but we'll start to kick off earnings season here in early April. Hope you enjoyed the market roundup today. Have a great rest of your day and a great week ahead. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.